Hi, you're listening to Childless and Moving Onward. This is the place where we talk about thriving in life when you're a woman who is childless, not by choice, regardless of the road that brought you to childlessness. Welcome to episode 24 of Childless and Moving Onward. I'm Gail Miller, your host. I'm a woman who is childless, not by choice. And as a life coach, I help women rediscover their worth and purpose in life and to recognize that life can still be fulfilling. Today's episode is about family, not what you might think though. There was a meme recently that started with, "Stop saying start a family when what you mean is have kids." You've probably seen it yourself, that meme, or you've probably heard, start a family, usually meaning to have kids. When are you going to start a family? Okay. But here's the thing. Does family have to only mean having children? You don't need children to be a family. Today, I'm going to unpack what that means for people who are childless, not by choice, and why we ourselves need to open up our view of how we define family so that we're setting the example. We are being more inclusive of all experiences and setting the example to respect everyone's situation, whether it looks like yours or not, whether it looks like what you think it should be or not. So let's start with why it is that the words we use matter. For those who are childless, not by choice, hearing start a family can feel like you've taken a punch to the gut, because it's yet one more reminder of the path that didn't work out the way we wanted it to. When people say start a family, they're saying it as if it's only possible to be a family if you have kids. It's dismissive, but it's not just that. It reinforces this idea that without children, your life is not complete. You as a person are not complete, are not enough, are less than. But no, none of that. You're not less than. You are not incomplete as a person. And life is not incomplete without children. You want them, but life doesn't have to be incomplete. You may feel like there's a part of you missing. You feel the loss, but that doesn't mean your life can't still be complete without having children. Being without children does not have to be your identity. It doesn't have to define you. Whatever relationships you have, whatever your support system, you have a family. When I refer to relationship, I'm not speaking only about a romantic relationship with a loving partner. I mean a relationship with any other person. Friends, loved ones can be family. And I'll add to that and make some people mad, but I don't care. Your pet or pets are family. For those who don't like that, this is probably not the podcast for you, because my dogs are my family. They are my kids. And you can hear them in the background. A family isn't simply having children. It's the love, the commitment, and the care that we build into our lives with or without children. Family isn't always blood. Sometimes our blood relatives, while they're technically or by definition or whatever you want to call it, they're family, but they may not be the people that in our heart we feel as family. In fact, sometimes it's better to have others in many situations that are not blood, but who we consider family. So family does not have to be just about having children and having children with your partner. So for many of us who are childless not by choice, whether it's due to infertility, medical conditions, or other circumstances outside of the control we had wanted, it's important to recognize that this journey is valid and often indescribably difficult. Society commonly doesn't leave room for our experience. The assumption that everyone will or should become a parent is ingrained in our culture. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. That's a common thread throughout culture as a whole, throughout society as a whole, that you are to become a parent. And from that extends this belief and the expectation that a family is only created by having children. And again, taking that further by extension, it's, well, without children, you are just not complete. And none of that's true. So we need to break that narrative. Family doesn't hinge on having children. In fact, for those of us who hoped for children but haven't been able to have them, the idea that family starts only when kids arrive can feel deeply isolating. And yet, our lives can still be full of meaning, full of connection, and yes, full of family. It just may not be what the definition that society has put on it. Whether it's the partnership you nurture with your spouse, the way you show up for nieces, nephews, neighbors, or even the deep friendships that sustain you, those relationships are your family. They can be. But we need to see that. We need to accept that. It's time to honor that there are other ways of creating family. Why is it so important to rethink our language? Well, when we default to start a family, meaning have kids, there's a whole range of life experiences that are excluded, including those of us who are childless not by choice. This ends up reinforcing this idea that family is something you're lacking when you don't have kids. That idea excludes the possibility that family can be built in other forms, in many forms. It just leaves it all out. That phrase, start a family, is also a reminder, a painful one, a reminder of dreams that won't come true. So the wording can take an emotional toll. Families vary, and they don't all include children. Maybe your family is you and your partner. Maybe it's you and your parents, you and your siblings, you and cousins, you and your roommates, you and close friends, you and your pet. All of these are valid examples of family. And they're not the only ones. This is just what I can think of right now to talk about. But if you have other relationships that give you that sense of family, that's equally valid. By shifting our language, it allows us to make space for others, for many. It includes those of us who are navigating life without children, whether it's by choice or not. And then it helps us feel seen and included. Because family is about love and connection, not about just biology and parenthood. But by changing how we talk about family, we allow recognition of the families we do have instead of what we don't have. Instead of saying, when are you going to start a family, when you're meeting someone or someone you know and you're having conversation with them, ask people. We can always ask people about their lives, their relationships, their passions. Let's show interest in the full spectrum of what makes a person's life meaningful, instead of assuming that parenthood is the only path to, it's the only measure of fulfillment. How do we change this? It starts with our own beliefs. If we can only see family as having children, we can't change others' views. And then we're hurt even more by the things people say, the things people ask. Remember, your life, your connections, your community, no matter the size, that is your family. Be kind to yourself. Society's expectations place an incredibly heavy burden on people, on everyone. And it's okay to acknowledge that weight and the pain it causes. It's okay to feel sadness for what won't be. To feel sadness for the view you had of what you wanted family to look like. But in the midst of all of that, it's important to celebrate the bonds that are meaningful in your life. When others ask, when are you going to start a family? Tell them you have a family. I have a family. If they're asking it of someone when you're in their presence, correct them and say, do you mean when are they going to have children? You may also feel comfortable following that up with letting them know that they actually shouldn't be asking such a personal question. It's none of their business. Let's stop equating family with children. Instead, let's start recognizing the full range of human connection. Let's start recognizing the full range of human experiences and recognize that they are all valid. Families come in many different forms. And for those of us who are childless, not by choice, our families are however we define them. It's not just for those of us who are childless, not by choice. I know others who are divorced mothers or fathers or widowers, and people people don't, and they have children and they're not considered family because they don't have a spouse. But because this is what we're focused on in this podcast, your definition of family is what you want it to be, of what feels right to you. It does not have to be having children. So don't exclude yourself from the idea of family. A tip that I want to leave you with is that there is more in life, or more to just being family than just having a child. But there's also more in life to celebrate than having a child or getting married. Now, I bring each of these up not to bash celebrating these, right? For people who are getting married, that's wonderful. For people who are having children, that's wonderful. Those are worth celebrating. This is not about bashing them or saying they don't have the right or shouldn't be celebrating this. But I bring them up because this is how women are judged most commonly in society, by marital and family status. But we as a society can move past that if by first we have to recognize as individuals that what we have each done and what we each do every day, these are also things that are worthy of celebration, that are worthy of being considered as accomplishments. But we can't expect others to see that if we don't acknowledge it for ourselves first. All right, that's what I have for you today, and I will be back with you next week. Thanks for listening. If you liked this episode and you know someone who could benefit from this podcast, please share it with them and post about it on social media. There are many other women who are looking for this help and would love to know about it. To catch all the latest from me, you can follow me on Instagram at Childless Path Onward, or on Facebook and YouTube at Path Onward. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.